What if I told you that a lot of what you think you know about men is actually wrong? What if I also told you that if you choose not to ever understand these key elements about men, then your romantic relationships with them will suffer because of it? If that's not the position that you want to be in, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing how to understand men. That way you can finally have some clarity as to why men are the way that they are. So let's say you have a little cousin. They walk 3 miles to school every day. In this example, this trip to school, they don't have a lot of money in this house because there's a whole lot of kids, is actually making his shoes very ripped. So now he has ripped shoes. So your cousin is asking for something very specific because it's Christmas time, right? And you want to gift him something for, him as one of your favorite cousins. He wants you to get him a PlayStation 5 because he has in his mind that if you get him a PlayStation 5, right, he'll have so much fun. He'll be way more happy. He'll be able to play with his friends. But you realize that based on his situation, the fact that he walks 10 miles to school, you decide that the best thing to gift him is shoes because he'll be more comfortable when walking to school. He'll have less foot pain, right? Because his shoes aren't worn out. He also won't get made fun of. So I say all that to say to connect it to your men that you're dating. Men also don't know what they really want in a relationship. And a lot of times what men will ask you for is they will ask you for the thing that makes their life easiest or most convenient. So what I want you to understand about men is when they ask you for things, literally have it in your mind that this man doesn't really know what he wants because he doesn't know what he actually responds to. Okay? And I know that that sounds very silly because why wouldn't a grown man be able to ask for what he actually wants by knowing what he actually needs? See, men are able to articulate to you what you should do as it relates to making his life easier or better. But a lot of times they don't always respond positively, meaning give you the treatment that you want or the appreciation that you want or the attention that you want for making their life so much more easier. Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example of that. Guys will say things like, oh, I want you to spam me and message me all the time. I don't mind if you're a little bit crazy. Sometimes I think crazy girls are more attractive. They're sexier, they're hotter. You'd feel free to call me at any time of the night. Feel free to message me or spam me, message me 3 times, double text me, triple text me if I don't answer you, right? They don't actually know how they respond to that. Because when you give them exactly that, what ends up happening is they say, oh, now that you're telling me exactly how you feel, now that you're spamming me with messages, now that you're acting crazy, I'm not going to respond to that by giving you what you want, by being a good man for you, showing up for you, being consistent with you. In my response to you doing all that, I'm going to say, perfect. I'll sit back, relax, and I'll continue to allow you to chase me and continue to allow you to act crazy and message me 3, 4, 5 times in a row, and I'm never going to change my behavior. So then you ask the question, well, why did you ask me to do something for you that when I do the thing for you, you don't even give me what I want? And that's exactly what I want you to understand about men. So when they ask you for certain things, and this is where you have to get good at it, you have to understand the difference between him asking for something that actually benefits him in life, right? Versus asking you for something that will make his life easier, but he won't actually respond positively to. And you just have to have in your mind, I'm going to say okay, as if I'm hearing him to validate his feelings and not make him feel like he's not being seen or heard. But I know exactly how I'm going to go about this and exactly how I'm going to actually do this. Point number 2 here. I want you guys paying attention for this point because I need your participation in order for this to work properly. Okay? I'm going to give you an option to buy each one of these Chanel bags. You can only have one of the Chanel bags though. So I'm going to specify the things that have to go on, the stipulations in each option here. So you know what your options are, and then you're going to choose at the end. All right. So in option number 1, okay, this Chanel bag is a price stat. We're going to put down here $50. Now, I'll be honest with you. Part of the reason that I'm charging you only $50 for the Chanel bag is because it's fake. Okay, I'll just be super real with you. The stitching is off. Let's say the bag quality is low. The color is off as well. You can get you a Chanel bag with the 2 C's on the front But it is going to be a fake. I'll be real with you. And the stitching is going to be a little bit off from the actual one that it's supposed to be replicating, okay? And the bag quality overall, like the leather, is low quality, okay? And the color of the bag is off from the color of the actual original that it's supposed to be replicating, okay? Now, in scenario number 2, this bag is priced at 5,000 USD. Okay, and this bag is 100% real. And most importantly, let's add this as well. As long as you take care of this bag number 2, this will last you a lifetime. And let's even add the caveat here as well in scenario number 1, that this bag, because it's cheap, because it's fake, right? This bag might last you, let's say, 2 weeks. Because if you get it in the rain, things might start happening, it might start shrinking, and you know, it's not gonna be good, okay? And so this bag can fall apart very easily. Now, this is where your participation comes in. Now that I've given you these 2 different options in your Chanel bag, okay, for you to choose from, I want you to tell me, which one are you gonna choose? The choice is really yours. There's no right or wrong answer here. Now, the reason I ask this is very important because I wanna connect this to something that a lot of you get confused when it comes to men, that I want us to all be at an understanding of. Attention from men can come in 2 forms. It can come in a form that is low quality, right? And very short-lived, or it can come in a form that is high quality and last a lifetime. What happens though is when you're dating men, or even when you're just observing men, and the attention that they'll give to different types of women, you start to become confused because you're thinking to yourself, well, he's giving attention to the type of woman he says he doesn't want, or doesn't want a wife, or doesn't want to be in a relationship with. But he seems to be able to like their pictures. He wants to hang out with them. He likes to sleep with them. Why is he giving all of this attention to the women he says he would never in a million years be in a relationship with? Well, it's because there's 2 different types of attention, right? Similar to this example where you have 2 different types of Chanel bag that serve totally different purposes, right? Because the reason you buy this Chanel bag right here is totally different from the reason you buy this Chanel bag, even though they're both Chanel bags. If I'm in a position where I want to choose this Chanel bag, it's probably because my budget is tight. I want to look rich for whatever reason, whether it be my self-esteem or whatever, right? I understand that the quality is going to be low and the color is going to be off, but I don't care because I just want something that looks like a Chanel bag that can make me look rich, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, right? Vice versa, if I'm in a position where I'm buying this $5,000 Chanel bag, it's because I want high quality, right? I want the real thing, and I want something that's gonna last me a lifetime, so I invest my money in something that will last me a lifetime. The reason I bring that up is because these are 2 different mental states. These are 2 different states of being when you're purchasing these 2 different types of Chanel bags. It's the same thing when it comes to men and their attention. Giving low quality attention to women who are just on Instagram, who are doing whatever with their lives, nothing against that, right? Is very different from giving attention to a woman that you actually want to invest in and be with for a lifetime, okay? And what I want you to rid yourself of is the anxiety that you feel that maybe you have to be more like other types of women in order to get men's attention. Because the reality of it is when you start to change or adjust yourself to be like the girls who seem to get a lot of low quality attention, right? You'll receive that same low quality attention, but that attention will be very short lived. So what you want to start focusing on in understanding men is not concerning yourself with receiving a whole lot of low quality attention from men who aren't going to actually be investing in you, right? And what you want to focus on is aligning yourself in a place and in a position where the type of attention you receive from men is high quality and lasts a whole longer. Because with that, you can have a whole lot more happiness. You can feel a whole lot more fulfilled in your relationship and in your life and about yourself. Number 3 also requires a little bit of participation. So we're going to have me here. My head's huge because my brain is huge. All right. Don't worry about all of those type of things. I'm so much bigger than the door. It's okay. I'm tall in real life. All right. So I'm coming to your house today and I'm coming to visit you. But let's imagine in this scenario here that you don't actually know me and you're not expecting me, okay? So I'm on my way to your house and I'm going here. So I ring your doorbell, right? And when I ring your doorbell, you come through, right? You're wearing some booty shorts or something. You've just been laying around watching Netflix. And you open this door for me, a large black man, which you probably shouldn't be doing for large black strangers. Now that you open the door, the first thing that I say, right, is, who are you? What? I say, who are you? What's your name? Where are you from? You're in my house. Why are you asking me what my name is? And I say, no, man. What I need from you right now, I need you to fill out this form. And I bring out some random form. And I say, please, fill this out. Give me your information. I need to understand why you're here, who you are, what your phone number is, and I need to know everything about you. Tell me in the chat, are you going to say, hold on, let me grab a pen, come inside and sit down? Or are you going to close the door in my face? Tell me which one you're going to do, okay? Tell me how you're going to respond to this situation here. So the reason that I asked that question, right, in all seriousness, this is very important, is because it would be quite strange for me to come to your house and begin making demands of you to tell me who you are, what you're about, and why you're here. This is your house. I came to your house. Why would I come to your house and ask you who you are? If I come to your house unexpectedly, you should be the one asking me who I am. And when you ask me who I am, I should be letting you know information about myself for you to continue opening your door to me. Because I'm not owed being at your house and you entertaining a conversation with me, especially because I came to your house. So how does this relate to you and your relationships, and specifically this point in communication? Yes, communication in itself is good. Talking about your feelings and what you want with men or anyone is great and amazing, and I want you to do that. However, what I want you to understand about men and communication with them is that the best way to communicate with men and actually tell them what you want and have them absorb that and actually make changes towards finding solutions and making the situation better is to allow those men to first come to you and ask you what's wrong, to be trying to fix the situation, to be trying to apologize to you, to be trying to make things better. And in the process of them trying to find a solution to make things better, then you let them know what your needs are, what your expectations are, what needs to change. The reason I say that is because the mistake that happens a lot of times in your communication with men is that before he even asks you what you need, asks you if you're upset, wants to make things better, you're already telling him what he's doing wrong, why he's doing it wrong, and what he needs to do to make a solution here. The problem is, though, that when you start doing that, without him ever having the intention of providing a solution or making things better, he immediately begins to defend himself. He immediately begins to gaslight you, or tell you why you're wrong, or tell you why you shouldn't have taken it that way, or tell you why you're confused. But now you're frustrated, because you're communicating your feelings, like people say, communication, but because he hasn't come to you with the desire to actually find a solution, the first thing he wants to do is tell you how you're wrong for feeling the way that you feel. Now there's not a lot of communicating going on because both of you are just talking at each other. What I want you to start doing when you get good with men and good with communicating with them is understanding that your first step in getting a man to actually absorb your needs and what you want and what you need in a situation is to withdraw from him and allow that withdrawal to make him start to think to himself, something must be wrong. Something must be off. I should approach her to try to get an understanding of what her needs are, what is going on, why she has withdrawn from me. Then when he approaches you, that's like your boombox moment. You know, in those teen dramas where the man will have a boombox sitting outside of her window, then he'll throw rocks at the window, and then the girl will come to the balcony, and then he'll be playing her favorite love song on the boombox, and he'll be saying, I'm so sorry. I want to make this better. I want us to be together again. And then by the time she lets him in after that boombox moment, all of a sudden, anything she says that she needs, he's ready to make a drastic change. Because that's just how men work. I don't make the rules. I can explain them to you. When you allow them to come to their own decision of saying, oh, I sense something is wrong and I want to make it better, by the time they come with that mindset and you let them know how you feel about something, what your perspective is, or what you felt went wrong, he is so much more of a sponge to be able to soak in your feelings, understand them, be aware of them, and actually take action upon them. because he first made his own choice that I want to understand her. I want to find a solution. I want to make this better. I know it sounds super silly, super dumb, super childish to have to do with grown men, but like I said, I don't make the rules, but I can explain them to you and why you end up being so frustrated talking to men and trying to communicate your feelings with them when they seem to be unresponsive to that. So the reason that I kind of gave this visual and analogy here is because it's the same concept. If I come to your house and I show up in front of your house, the expectation is that I'm coming to your house, I should be the one providing you with answers. You don't owe me answers when I come to your house. So it's the same thing that you kind of want to imagine in your relationships, right? In order for you to properly do this correctly, you have to let men come to you. Because the moment they come to you, there's a certain level of expectation of how things should work here and what the order of operations are. If I come to your house, the expectation is that you should be the one providing me with answers of why you're at my house. The same way, when the men approach you because they want to solve things, because they want to make this better, right? The expectation is that you will ask me because you want to understand what's going on with me and understand my feelings. When I communicate those feelings to you, rather than gaslight me, rather than tell me I'm not wrong, you'll be in a position where you're more willing to absorb that and act on that because you've already come to me, right? Because you want to understand me and you want to make this situation better. Because if you didn't want to make the situation better, then why come to me in the first place? So you kind of set the stage for there to actually be action or there to actually be understanding or actually be a solution, because by virtue of them coming to you, they are already open to the idea of coming to an understanding. Point number 4 is about narratives. Now, I want to explain this to you in an example, so I need your participation in order for this example to work, okay? So we're going to have 2 sets of movies, all right? I want us to decide which one we're gonna go see. Now, let's say in movie 1, people are saying it's way too long. People are also saying acting is bad. People are also saying it's very confusing. Now we have movie number 2 here. People say acting, amazing. They also say plot, 10 out of 10. Twists and turns throughout the whole movie. Which movie are you most likely going to see? So the reason that I bring this up is because of how important narratives can become in your life and in your relationships, especially your relationships with men. Remember, you are a woman in your feminine. And so because you're a woman in your feminine, men must come to you. But you must remember that men only do that. They only take action on approaching you and trying to get to know you based on the narratives that they build in their own mind about you. Because if they believe that you're desirable based on what they see from you and based on the conversation that they have with you, they take action on that narrative and that belief by asking you out on more dates, by taking you out more, by being more consistent with you. Vice versa, if they begin to build a narrative in your mind that you're like movie number 1, where you're valueless, right? You have no one wants to spend time with you or hang out with you. All the guys treat you like trash, right? You live a boring and uninteresting life. You're not very attractive or desirable, right? All of these things is building a narrative in his mind. And then that narrative is what he chooses to act on or not act on in the relationship. The same way in this scenario, the narrative of how good or how bad the movie was actually made you take action on it without even actually knowing it, right? This is a narrative that you've built without ever seeing the movie. Theoretically, right? Even though you heard this from other people, you could go to movie number 2 and it could be trash. Theoretically also, you could go to movie number 1 and it could be amazing. You've never seen it. You haven't even seen a trailer. You don't know what it's about. You're going in blind, but you're going in with the narrative that one is better than the other. So I say that to say, when you're understanding men and you're building relationships with them, you can never let go of how important it is to stay consistent with the particular narrative that you want the guy that you're romantically involved with to have of you, which is exactly why we talk in the Players Club about how to present yourself the right way, about that type of things men are looking for and looking at when they're thinking about getting a wife, right? When they're thinking about being in a long-term relationship, because we want to make sure at all times, regardless of what he's looking for, whether he's looking for a hoe to sleep with in one night or whether he's looking for a real wife, regardless of what he's looking for, we want to make sure that you paint a very particular picture of yourself in everything that you say, in the way that you approach life, in the things that you do, and the way that you respond to him. But this can be a mistake that easily happens because you're so fixated on how you feel in the moment that you don't understand that the narrative you're building in that man's mind. Okay? So what I want to try and help you with is stepping outside of yourself and realizing, how is this action building this particular narrative, right? Is this action that I'm doing right now actually building the opposite narrative that I want to be building of myself? Because when I meet guys, it's not about just me understanding me and who I am, right? That's great. You also have to understand that the men are only meeting you and having an understanding of you of what they see from you. So it's very important that you're always making sure and being cognizant of how are you representing yourself, and not just, how you come to the date, but how do you respond to him? How do you talk to him? How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about your own life? How do you allow other people in your life to treat you? What does he see or not see of how your friends treat you or go about your relationships? How your coworkers or family treats you and goes about their relationship with you, right? All of these things he's observing to build his own narrative of you. And based on that narrative, he will either take action or he may not take a lot of action. So understanding that is very important about understanding men. Point number 5. So let's imagine a scenario in which you're on a blind date. Your friend set you up and your friend gave you no details. Let's imagine for this guy, he received a total background on you. And he also was able to talk to your best friend. And he had a convo with your mom. So when you go on this blind date, let's imagine that because he has all of this amazing information, he does exactly all of the amazing things that you've been wanting a man to do. He pulls your chair out in a way that no man would have ever done for you before, because you've never had a guy actually be that caring and thoughtful. On the date, he brings you, let's just say for the sake of example, you like pink roses instead of red roses, and he brings pink roses for you. It's laying on the table before you guys even sit down, okay? A man's never even gotten you roses before, let alone the exact pink roses that you really love. You also love a man who will wear, let's just say for the sake of example, a red blazer. And today he comes on this date wearing a red blazer. And you're like, oh my God, this is literally, he's dressed exactly like the guy I've always wanted, okay? He's got the same haircut. Let's say he's got waves, right? And he's got nice straight teeth, all that good stuff, right? And he starts talking to you, and let's say you're a big family person, and the first thing he talks about is how important family is to him. And you're like, oh my God, you are exactly who I've been looking for, but you don't even realize it. And then you start thinking to yourself, damn, I'll be honest with you, a lot of what you're saying I agree with, and I've never met anyone like you. And he's just like, you know what, that's just me. But you don't know that the reason he's so perfect for you is because of all the information he has on you to make it perfect for you and play a role for you. Now let's connect this back to your relationships and why this point is about fantasies. Sex is not just the act of him jackrabbiting himself inside of you. See, yes, what we're trying to accomplish is for him to value you as we withhold sex throughout the course of you guys getting to know each other and growing with each other. But I don't want you to neglect that part of the relationship simply because that's not going to be present at this very moment. I also want you to be understanding, what are his fantasies? What is he into? What is he really like, right? What are the things that he probably wouldn't go on a first date and just blurt out that he loves, okay? For some guys, for every guy, I should say, it's a little bit different. Some guys might really love feet. Some guys might like, different types of role plays. Some guys might like whatever it is, might like the thrill of doing stuff in public, whatever their thing is. What I want you to start doing is getting curious enough to gather information about that. What you want to do is you want to be building up your understanding of what these fantasies are and the role that he wants a woman to play in his sexual fantasy. Because What's going to happen is by the time you finally do sleep with him, we want you to be able to utilize this information to make him feel like you are actually exactly who he's been looking for. Now, let me be very clear. You don't have to do anything that you're uncomfortable with, okay? You don't have to actually pretend that you're enjoying something that you don't actually enjoy. But what you can do is find a happy medium between things that you're comfortable with and would enjoy doing, with an understanding that these specific things, that if you do that for him, he knows and you know that a lot of women wouldn't be going this deep, right? And you reach a level of depth and substance in even the act of you guys sleeping together, because you're doing more things than just the act of sleeping together. You're pinpointing exactly what role do you want me to play in your life as it relates to your fantasies. Okay? I know this sounds a little bit abstract if some of you have never dug that deep with another human being before, but I promise you, when you start getting curious about this and digging this deep, you'll realize that the experience of sleeping with someone is so much more than just them jackrabbiting themselves inside of you. And when you can get deeper in that, you'll uncover a lot of things and you'll actually make him more hooked towards you. Because it's similar to this situation here, where with all of this information, this guy that you were on a blind date with can actually play the role of the perfect person for you. And so by the time you actually are ready and comfortable with sleeping with him because it actually is the right time, you can even take it a step further by rocking his world and really cementing that you are the perfect human being for him.